Hey everybody, welcome to Enliven Wellness. My name is Tessa and I'm really happy to be here. I'm an integrative medicine practitioner in training, almost done with my master's, and I'm about to tell you the top 5 hidden sources of histamine that you may not have thought about yet. Now, if you are suffering from SIRS or mold poisoning or Lyme disease, the chances are you may also have histamine intolerance, or those conditions are making you very sensitive to histamine. So there's a big interconnection between these conditions. Now, all right, what are some symptoms first of histamine intolerance? They are wide-ranging and there's so many of them. They can be everything from brain fog, anxiety, diarrhea, POTS symptoms, and if you don't know what POTS is, it's postural orthostatic tachycardia, and basically what happens, I'm gonna make a whole video series on POTS, but if you like stand up and you have like a heart racing situation and like your blood pressure plummets when you stand up, which is supposed to actually go up when you stand up, there's a problem there. You can have POTS related symptoms. You can have, again, like major cognitive issues, like, wait, what was I saying? No, just joking. So cognitive issues like not being able to recall words, not being able to think clearly, not being able to speak clearly, slurring your words. You can have twitches. A lot of these can be associated and linked back to histamine intolerance. Sound familiar to any of you? That has been story of my life. Histamine intolerance has been story of my life, like since I was little. And maybe you're suffering from this too. So here are my top 5 hidden triggers of histamine release that you may not have thought about yet. Make sure you stay tuned to the very end for the one that's probably gonna really knock your socks off, because it's one of the most like renowned health foods out there, but it could be a big problem for you if you have histamine intolerance. So make sure you stay tuned until the very end. But number 1 are spices. All right, so spices are wonderful, beautiful things, but they can cause massive histamine release. Oh, bummer! Now there's certain ones that cause more of a histamine reaction than others. And you also need to make sure that you get really fresh organic spices, or else they can be moldy, which will trigger a histamine release. And you don't want to be eating moldy spices. Ew. So you've got to make sure you get your spices from a very clean organic source. I do like Spicely. You can also go to your like local spice store. You might also want to get smaller versions of the spices rather than big bulk ones. There's a debate there, but certain herbs and spices cause a massive histamine release, and those are cinnamon, one of my favorites, but it causes histamine. Nutmeg, anise, clove. So if you're doing a parasite cleanse, you might want to check the clove because that could be causing more of a problem. Nutmeg, cumin, pepper, mustard, curry, yeast, of course. All of these spices can really increase histamine load in your body. So if you're going to use them very minimally. And remember that histamine is like a bucket. So the more you pour in, the more that histamine bucket overrunneth, if you will. And so it's not necessarily like eating a little bit of cumin is going to cause you the problem. It's like the overload during the day. But these are just a couple of the herbs and spices that do cause a histamine release in the body, which sucks. So that is number 1. Number 2 are certain strains of probiotics. So maybe you like go into your kitchen in the morning and you're like, I'm gonna take my probiotic and yay, happy tummy. Well, not so if you have histamine intolerance. And if you're just wanting to be careful about your histamine load overall. So certain strains of probiotics can cause histamine release. Now those are, and I do have to look down at my notes for this, there's a debate about 2 of them that are mainly very common. Lactobacillus acidophilus and Lactobacillus lactis. 2 of the most common probiotic strains that you'll find in like any probiotic out there. They are up for debate whether or not those do cause histamine release in the body and could trigger some of these symptoms for you. Another one is L-casei, Lactobacillus casei, Lactobacillus reuteri, Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Streptococcus thermophilus. and Lactobacillus helveticus. These are all of the strains, not all of them, but a lot of the strains that can contribute to histamine release in the body, and those are the ones you may want to avoid. Now, if you're like, well then what the heck probiotic do I take? Well, there are certain probiotics that are called delactate free, and there's ones that are histamine reducing strains. If you're interested in a super high quality version of these histamine reducing strains of probiotic, please email me and I can get them for you. And it would support this channel, so thank you. And yes, so you want to do histamine reducing strains of bacteria, L. plantarum, L. rhamnosus, Bifidobacterium infantis, Bifidobacterium lactis. So those are some of the strains too that reduce histamine. Now, be careful when you're taking your probiotic, just saying, look at the back, what's on it. All right, number 3. This one is a big bummer. Tea. So certain teas, black tea, green tea, mate, these actually inhibit the secretion. They block an enzyme known as diamine oxidase, DAO. And these teas can block the production of that enzyme, which is responsible for breaking down histamine. So if they don't necessarily increase histamine, but what they do is they inhibit the action of diamine oxidase, so your body can't break down histamine as efficiently, which is a big bummer. I think that there are many benefits to tea, but you've got to be careful of that histamine bucket again. So if you have like a lot of histamine in your diet and then you drink tea, shit, right? And if you're wanting to be very, very clean and careful on this like low histamine thing, you got to reduce the tea. Bummer. I know, I love tea. I think there's great benefit, but if you're histamine intolerant and you're like really trying to heal your gut, it might be worth taking some of those out. All right, number 4, spinach. Spinach is a very high histamine food. I've done some research. I was looking all over the interwebs, like why is spinach high histamine? Couldn't find anything. It just is agreed upon that it is a high histamine food. Oh man, so no Popeye, right? So like the spinach, probably a no-go if you have histamine issues. Now, the one that I was like, no, when it came to histamine release is a supplement that a lot of you are probably taking or have heard about or are thinking about taking, and this could be causing big histamine issues, and that is my number 5, which is fermented cod liver oil. Eek! The problem is hidden in the name, fermented. So when they make fermented cod liver oil, what they do is they take the cod livers and they soak them in a brine and they ferment them like sauerkraut and other high histamine foods. And then they extract the oil off the top of that briny solution, and then they put those in capsules. That's fermented cod liver oil. And so it is a high histamine food, and it can cause histamine reaction in the body. I know I tried fermented cod liver oil and I was like, oh, this feels great. And then like I realized that my heart would start to race. I was like, damn it. So, and I was like, oh my gosh, fermented cod liver oil. Makes sense. So there's my top 5 hidden sources of histamine in your diet or life: spices, probiotics, tea, spinach, and fermented cod liver oil. Now, if you are needing help with histamine intolerance or mast cell activation or mold or SIRS, and you need more tips and tricks like this and more guidance and like meal plans and diet plans, please email me at tgirly7@gmail.com and say I'm ready. You can also check out my website, Enliven-Wellness.com, and follow me on Facebook, Enliven Wellness, and on my Instagram. All of the information is down in the links below. And if you're interested in purchasing some amazing products like humic and fulvic acid that will help with the histamine intolerance situation, also check out my affiliate links down below. And also check out my Patreon. It's about to launch, and I will put that in the description box as soon as it launches. Support this channel, become a patron so that you can get more free videos like this. Thank you for everyone for being here. I love you so dearly. Please reach out if you'd like more help, and I love you. Have a wonderful day.